Dear ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ivana Drnyuk. I am Associate Professor at Lviv Polytechnic National University. And today I am glad to present you our study, the empirical study of pandemic influence on the university students' education. So, next slide. The entry of post-civilization is a period of significant environment has led an intensification of scientific research in this area. The announcement of the pandemic and the significant restriction caused by lockdowns have caused unprecedented challenges in the world education system. UNESCO created some recommendations supporting education in pandemic conditions. Educators have been actively looking for the ways to maintain an adequate level of education, equal access to educational opportunities for all population segments. Here, an important role was given to the informatization of education process. The transition from education to cyberspace during a pandemic has been somewhat easier in university settings, where the experience and motivation of learners are more significant than in other schools. This material was for the study of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the training of information technology students was presented in early 2022. It's clear that with the beginning of the full-scale war of the Russian Federation of Ukraine on February 24, 2022, all Ukrainians, particularly teachers and students, face much more significant challenges than those caused by the pandemic, and the relevance of these materials decreasingly sharp. During the months of this war, more than 8,000 educational institutions were damaged by bombing. The worst situation is in the east part of Ukraine, according to the Office of the Prosecutor General of Ukraine. The following studies will be devoted to studying the impact of war conditions of students' education. Method of our research was a direct survey using Google Form. There were about 140 students in the first year of schooling at the Computer Science and Information Technology Institute at Lviv Polytechnic National University. The survey took place in January 2022. The authors prepared the questions for the study due to some previous publication. The investigation of pandemic and influence is improved by new empirical research and some facts about the impact of real war conditions on the higher education process in Ukraine. The investigation method was a survey, also due for another scientist. We analyzed the publication from the other the investigation participant from the August to the September 2024, the 7 disciplines in all high education college in the United Arab Emirates were involved. Also, we analyzed the investigation from Poland and Ukraine. Our study was conducted at Lviv Polytechnic National University. The experimental part of the work, online survey, was attended by about 200 students in majoring in the first and the second year of study of computer science. The survey was conducted in Ukrainian at the end of the January 2022, and the student had examination session according to Lviv Polytechnic curriculum. The survey was conducted online using Google Form tools. It contains 10 questions about the direct impact of full or partial lockdown conditions and other constraints caused by the pandemic on students subject to perception of learning change. Also, in our investigation, we compare two surveys. One survey was in 2022, and the previous was in the 2021. And this comparison shows that the students in 2022 have a better conditions than in the previous year. The first question was about which area of student life has been the most affected by the pandemic, and we received such result that the study about 77%, leisure 11%, family relation 4%, and group relation and work 3 and 4%. The results show the significant influence of pandemic condition on the study process for students. Next question was about a position on vaccinations. So we received the positive responses 47 and negative 31%, and neutral 11%. The answers show that there are many people in Ukraine with anti-vaccination position, and it is necessary to do a lot of explanatory work. The next question is about the most announcing in the connection with quarantine. So we receive this result that wearing mask is the worst condition, and the percent is about 40%. Closes, cafe, bars, and restaurants 16%, and impossibility to travel 26%, and unable to attend concert and music festival 11%, closed museum 2%, and closed cinemas also about 2%. In this slide, you can see the influence of real work condition on educational process in Ukraine. Here you can see some damaged and destroyed educational institution in Ukraine. Total, we have about 2,000 damaged institute and completely destroyed about 200 institutes. So the conclusion of our investigation is that the study convincingly proves that despite of challenging conditions of the coronavirus pandemic, and the Ukrainian higher education system has overcome this difficult and stabilized situation as a whole. When the fight against the consequences of pandemic has already entered the final stage, the students and teachers has adopted to online learning. Ukraine is suffering the next natural disaster, the scale of which far exceeds the previous one. Educators withstand the enemy's aggression and continue to work in harsh conditions. Huge materials and moral damage were inflicted, especially in the east and south of Ukraine and in the city of Kiev. It's still difficult to fully assess the effect of the war in the Ukrainian higher education system. This will be the subject of further research. And the authors would like to thank the armed forces of Ukraine to providing security to perform this work. This work has been possible only because the dedication and courage of the Ukrainian army. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention.